Every morning, Marcus walked through the cold streets of Chicago before sunrise. He had no car, no savings, and barely enough money for his daily needs. But every morning, he kept going. Marcus worked wherever someone would hire him. Construction sites, warehouses, restaurants. He took whatever job he could find. But working hard wasn't always enough. Some nights, he returned to a tiny room with unpaid bills and almost nothing left in his wallet. His biggest dream wasn't becoming rich. He simply wanted to build a better life for himself and his younger sister. Then, one rainy night, Marcus met two strangers who promised him an opportunity to make quick money. For someone desperate, their words were difficult to ignore. Marcus walked away feeling conflicted. He knew something about the situation was wrong, but poverty had made the wrong choice seem tempting. Slowly, his life began falling apart.
I don't know about
his phone
this.
stayed
It is a
silent.
rare opportunity.
His bills continued to grow, and the future became harder to imagine. Then Marcus lost his job. Standing outside the workplace with his bag in his hand, he realized just how quickly everything could disappear.
Marcus waits
he
for a
became
call that never
isolated.
comes.
Night after night, Marcus
The bills
sat
keep
alone in his
piling
small
up.
apartment,
And
wondering
tonight,
how his life
the hunger
had
is
reached
not
this
just
point.
for food.
His younger sister noticed
Marcus,
the
I'm
change.
sorry.
She
There is no
didn't
more work
judge
for
him.
you.
Instead, she came
We
to
have to
see
let you
him
go.
and simply stayed beside him. Marcus looked at an old photograph of his mother. For a moment, he remembered the person he had been before life became so complicated. His sister finally told him something he needed to hear. Asking for help wasn't weakness. It was the beginning of change. The next morning, Marcus made a decision. He looked in the mirror, took a deep breath, and decided that his story wasn't finished. He walked away from the people and choices that had been pulling his life in the wrong direction. It wasn't easy. Marcus went to a community support center and finally spoke honestly about what he was going through. Eventually, he found work at a small automobile repair shop. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work, and it gave him something he had lost hope. Slowly, Marcus began rebuilding his relationship with his sister. They shared simple meals, talked about the future, and started laughing again. His life became a routine again. Wake up, work, come home, keep moving forward. Sometimes, progress begins with something that simple. Later, Marcus began helping other people facing difficult circumstances. He listened to them because he understood what it felt like to have nowhere to turn. Years later, Marcus returned to the neighborhood where his life had once begun to fall apart. Standing on the same street, he looked at an old photograph and remembered how close he had come to losing everything. But Marcus didn't stay trapped in those memories. He turned around and kept walking toward the life he had fought to rebuild.
Every morning starts the same.
His problems hadn't
I find my
magically
peace in the
disappeared.
routine.
There were still difficult
Honest work
days,
brings a sense of
painful
purpose.
memories,
It's about building something
and moments
real.
when the
And at the end of the
past tried
day,
to pull him
I'm
back.
content.
But Marcus had learned something important. Your past can explain where you came from, but it doesn't have to decide where you go. He couldn't change his mistakes, but he could change his next decision. Sometimes, a second chance begins with something simple: asking for help, walking away from the wrong path, and finding the courage to start again. Marcus finally understood that a better life doesn't happen overnight. It begins one choice at a time, and sometimes, the greatest victory isn't becoming successful.